Hello everyone, once again welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Reviving Destinies here. We revive destinies. You read the title very well. The title of my video now is how to stop racism against black people. Uh, and the slogan of the video is African people unite or else cry. That is the slogan of the video. So before I can go far, let me make a strong disclaimers. I agree that black people also can be racist, and also other races also, non-black people also can face racism also. It's just that I just want to put more emphasis on African people, because we cannot run away from the fact that us, we are the nation which faced the history of tribulations, humiliations, oppression, tyranny, and all the manner of afflictions more than any race in the world. That one is like a proven fact, and it's something which happened for more than 300 years, 3 centuries. Those things happen to us in different places of the world. Even today, black people still face a lot. It's just that it's better than other years. So now I'm going to emphasize much on the intrinsic slavery, intrinsic racism in black communities. We notice that most of the revolutionaries, when they speak about racism, they speak about, they try to solve the issues of racism against black people by confronting other races whenever they are being racist to black people. But they forget of that intrinsic racism which speed up the external racism, because the internal matters is the one which has a great impact. Trust me, even if we can solve external racism, but without solving the internal racism, racism within black people, we are not solving any problem. That is why in many African countries, whenever they chase people who are colonizing them, the imperialists, those countries remain poorer than they were before. Why? Because they never confronted that intrinsic internal racism in black communities, but rather they were focusing on the external one only. It's not a problem to focus on the external racism. It's just that, trust me, there is a strong correlation between internal racism and external racism. So that's the truth. So a revolution goes with unity. That's what I'm going to emphasize a lot in my right now. So unity of black people is the first step of revolution. So whenever we are united as black people, united and try to be uniform at the same time, because most of the time we just unite on public, we just unite in speeches and rhetorics, but internally there are lots of disagreements. In reality, we are not united. That is why we live in a continent where we have lots of problems, which they are unresolved. I'm going to emphasize a lot about the tribal issues of Africa, state capture, nepotism, and all those things, which shows that we are not united. So that's how it is. So whenever you trace the history of black people, because most of the time, whenever we speak about unity, people always says white people are the one who make us not to be united. Other races are the one which divided us. Trust me, I beg to differ on that, because even if you can trace the history of black people, it will tell you that there were tribal wars before the arrival of white people in Africa. Black people were fighting black people. That is what even led to the mass migration. Majority left in Central Africa, spread to the continent. Some went northwards, some went southwards. So you can see that we need to stand up as black people and address that issues of division without blaming imperialists, without blaming other people. We should blame ourselves. That is my emphasis. So, because trust me, if we are divided as black people, then we preach about how much other races they are undermining us. We are just multiplying by one. We are not changing anything. Because trust me, strangers treat you people based on the way your brother most of the strangers will treat you based on the way your brother treat you, or the way people who are close to you treat you. If people come up and they start to see people who are close to you calling you a monkey, they will have that access to call you a monkey because they see people who are close to you calling a monkey. Or if strangers come up and see you people hating one another, calling one another names, that is the standard which they will rate you people. Because if you people hate one another, how do you expect other people to love you? For example, if at your home you always fight with your brothers, that is the standard which they will rate you. That is how other people will treat you. They will undermine you because you people, you are not united, you are not one thing, you treat one another bad. For example, we live in a continent where African leaders take positions, high roles, they steal money, they are corrupt, and they do all those things which they do. We have state captures, nepotism. We don't have infrastructure. We live in countries where there is nothing, but political leaders are extremely rich. Trust me, how do you expect European people, American people, Chinese, Asian people to treat you well when you migrate to their continents? When people who are your own treat you bad? If African leaders, which you voted them into power, commit election regimes and start to maltreat you, oppress you, how do you expect the people who are strangers to treat you well? You see, if your brother can't treat you well, how do you expect someone whom you don't even know to treat you well? So we have to solve such issues before we start to blame people of other continents. That's how it is. So we should stand up and take responsibility, dispute that mentality that they taught us to hate one another. We should love one another as African people, as black people. Whenever you are a black person, you should learn to love another black person, love blackness, support a black person. We don't not only loving one another or being united only when we want to strike or committing something destructive. So we should support one another in constructive things, strategical things, critical things, and structural things. So that's how it is. So another point which to make is, as African countries, all African countries should learn to stabilize their economy. Not only depend on few countries which they will migrate to look for greener pastures, because in that way that's not how we will rise. If South Africa stabilizes its economy, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, Botswana, all those countries, even countries in the West Africa, Central Africa, North Africa, East Africa, they do all those things, stabilizes their economy, all of them, invest in stronger military forces, defense forces. That is how to rise, not in a way that only few countries will rise, then all African people will depend on those countries. That's just parasitical. We should have all people. We should have all the countries of Africa who have strong economies, because in that way, if we rise, all of us, it will be easy for South Africa to rise, because its surrounding, they are also rising. They will also help one another to rise. If Zimbabwe is rising, it will be easy for it to even rise more if the countries which surrounded it they are rising. Because if, let's say, one country rise, let me give an example. If only Mozambique is the one which is rising around Southern Africa, then it has to, all the people surrounding Mozambique have to depend on Mozambique. It won't stand, because now it has to breastfeed many people, and it eats alone. So that's how it is. Trust me, imagine if a cow is being sucked by different babies. It won't stand in that way. But trust me, if like all African countries stabilizes their economy, in that way we will be free, and we will be liberal, out of the bondage of oppression, out of the bondage of bad treatment which we receive. We know African people, they have lots of cases that they receive bad treatment whenever they went to Europe, Asia, America, and I'm not here to blame all those people in Europe, in America, and everywhere. I'm just here to address our problems. Let's fix our continent. Let's stabilize our countries, and not dwell much in blaming other people for the problems which we see. So another thing which makes people of other races also to see us as things is the way bad things they are being celebrated, or they perpetuate to happen in our African continent. For example, those issues of terrorism, tribalism, state capture, nepotism, all those things which they result in the extreme poverty. Those are issues which makes people of other races to see us as useless people, or people whom they won't regard. They just assume that whenever you are at their continent, you are there to steal, to cause a problem, based on the way they view a black person on their media. Whenever they view a black person on their media, when they start with their leadership, corrupt. When they go to ordinary black people, they are gangsters. When they look at other things, they just see bad things from the out cover of Africa. Then that is the mentality which people of other races grow up of a black person. And we need to remove that stigma which we have, by stabilizing our economy, by building independent spirit in our continent. That is what I was just trying to advocate in that video. Let's try our best to solve that internal racism in our black communities. I will end up my video there. Please don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share it with other people, comment if you want to comment. Let me see you on the next video. Shalom.